Good morning. Happy Monday. Come on in the room where the room is open. Let's start off light, shall we? Because this is gonna be um one of our angrier episodes. I'm usually pretty light. I usually laugh about things. I usually can find humor in a lot of things, but this isn't that. So we'll start off light. Good morning, numbers. Thank you so much for being here. Um, Good morning, Rachel Be So For Real. Listen, it is Monday. It is the start of a new week. My baby graduates kindergarten on Wednesday. My little heart can't take it. But we're gonna talk about all the things, and I want to I want to lay some groundwork, and I want to give some disclaimers, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of incendiary language used today. Good morning, Crystal. And I don't have time to lay the groundwork for everything I'm about to say. So if I say you people, if I say y'all, if I say white people, okay, if it ain't you, just move, just to take what fits and leave the rest. Okay, because I'm not about to sit here every time I speak and say, some not all, some not all. Y'all know what I mean. Okay, and if I say something and it bothers you, as my grandma say, a hit dog will holler, and that's a you problem. Okay, and then you have to figure out why that bothers you so much. And your healing, in the words of Funky Dineva, your healing will be on the other side of that answer. Because if somebody comes in the room, okay, talking about snoot footed, bald headed hoes, I don't be bothered. I don't be bothered because I'm not no snoot footed, bald headed hoe. Okay. So if I say some things and you feel a little touched, that's a you problem. You need to sit with that feeling and wonder why that bothers you so much. Okay. Some things we're going to talk about today are very racially motivated. Good morning, Sharon, fellow Scorpio. And so there will be a lot of race talk today. And in case you didn't know, your girls happens to be a black woman. I just so happen to be a black woman. And I am a black woman first before I am anything else. I show up in the world first as a black woman. Before you know I'm a mother, before you know I'm a sister, before you know I'm an aunt, before you know I'm a lawyer, before you know I'm a walking jukebox of housewife quotes, you see a black woman. So there will be a lot of racially motivated speech today. And if you find something that bothers you, I'm gonna need you to not be so reactive. And I'm gonna need you to sit with that. I need you to figure out, why does that bother me? She's not talking about me. She's talking about the bigots and the racists and the anti-Semites and the misogynists. That is the only disclaimer I will give for the rest of this video. Because we have a lot to talk about. And we're gonna take it slow, we're gonna let it breathe. Because I have been upset for 2 weeks. And y'all know when I get upset, I go in a shell, I go in a hole. I don't want to talk to nobody because I need to figure out my thoughts. I need to get them together. I need to understand why I feel the way I feel. And I have been upset for weeks. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? The first case I want to talk about is going to be South Carolina versus Rick Chow. If you don't know what this case is about, I will tell you. Rick Chow is an Asian convenience store owner. Him, his wife, and his son run a convenience store, as so many Asian people do in Black neighborhoods. Okay? 14-year-old child, because I didn't feel like I heard enough of people calling him what he was, a child. This 14-year-old child, he's a baby. I just stopped calling my 18-year-old my baby, and sometimes I still do when she's not around. Okay. That's a baby. This 14-year-old baby walks into the store of Rick Child. As soon as he walks in, his drop your backpack, which he does no problem. We have been so used to being policed in black neighborhoods that he drops his backpack with no problem. I have never walked into a store in Beverly Hills, Bloomfield, Novi, and they asked me to put my backpack down. But let me walk on the other side of Greenfield and can you leave your bag at the door? Why? It's my bag. I already bought this stuff. But anywho, he puts his backpack down, no problem. He walks around the store for a little while, and the wife, I don't even know her name and I don't even care because I am very confused at why everybody was not charged with accessory to murder. But let's not get off track. Cyrus Carmack Belton, 14-year-old Cyrus, walks in the store. Hey, put your backpack down. He puts his backpack down. He walks around the store. The wife is on his heels. Do you hear me? Has anybody ever seen Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juice in the hood? Do you remember the scene where they go into the store? This is so prevalent in African American communities that it's only Asian convenience stores, that this was a big scene in a movie from, I don't know, 1999, 2000, where Loke Dog and his cousin walk into a convenience store and the Asian lady is everywhere they go. She's even in the freezer talking about, hurry up and buy. That's how this lady was on Cyrus's heels all throughout the store, walking behind him, seeing where he goes. Not even pretending. You know, sometimes you will go into a store as a black person, because this happened to me. No, none of our racist experience as black people are unique. We have all had them. That is how we commune. That is how we build community, off of racial experiences. I have, of course, been followed around the store. Okay. So she's following him around the store, and usually they try to look busy. You know, if you in a clothing store, they try to fold some stuff, or they try to act like they sweeping, or they try to act like they checking the price. This lady was so bold and didn't give a damn. She didn't look like she was doing nothing. She wanted him to know, yeah, I'm following you. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Mind you, nobody else is in the store, and they have these advanced computer systems that they spend a bunch of money on, but you still need to be on this child's back while he walks through this gas station. Nothing in here costs more than $10, but you need to be on his back about it. Okay, let's move on. Cyrus goes to the water cooler. He pulls out about 4 bottles of water, and then he puts them back. She's right behind him. She sees this. She knows what's going on because you've been watching him. Okay, he pulls out the water and he puts it back. He walks up to the front of the store to begin to grab his backpack and leave. And did you just take a water? What's in your pocket? He like, I don't have no water. There's nothing in my pocket. I didn't take anything. I believe that he saw that bitch on his back and decided, I'm not spending no money in here. I'm not spending no money where I'm being watched like a hawk. I don't even want shit. And I think he pulled out the 4 waters to get on her nerves, to piss her off, and put them all back and decided, I don't want nothing from here. I'm not getting nothing where I'm being watched like a hawk. So he walks back up to the front of the store to grab his backpack to leave. They think he stole something. I don't know how. You got 10x security cameras and this lady was on his back, but you still think he stole the water, which I need to say, the bottle of water that she thought he stole cost one American doll hair. $1 bottle of water that she is now accusing him of stealing. He says, I didn't take any water. He grabs his backpack, he leaves. He walks, he doesn't run initially. He grabs his backpack and he walks out of the store. As soon as he does that, the son, who tried to get on the stand and look like Mr. Miyagi, chased after him with his hat to the back, chased after him full speed. And so Cyrus starts to run because why the fuck is this man chasing me? Matter of fact, the son and Rick Child run out of the store on Cyrus's heels. So Cyrus takes off running because why are these two big grown men chasing me? We have no less than 4 witnesses say that they watched Cyrus run out of his shoes, drop his backpack, run the length of a football field from goalpost to goalpost, terrified. And then he trips and hurts himself. And he tries to get back up and run again when he is shot in the back by Rick Chow. And he is murdered. And that is the term I'm going to use. No less than four witnesses said they never saw Cyrus put a gun in his hand. No less than four witnesses say they never saw him have anything in his hand. No less than four witnesses saw they saw that boy running scared for his life and they saw Rick Chow shoot him in the back. Not only that, we have a forensic analysis done and says it looks like he was shot in a running position, meaning he was probably trying on his way up and you shot him in the back. No one, just like the prosecutor says, no one not named Chow, because Rick Chow's story is I saw him point a gun at my son and so I shot him. Because Cyrus did have a gun. He did have a gun, but the gun fell out when he fell. And Rick Chow was found not guilty by a jury of his peers of murdering Cyrus Carmack Belton, 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton. In this case, let me tell you that I did not watch this case when it was happening. I didn't watch this case until I could not avoid it anymore because this is Black trauma for me. It's the same reason I've never watched When They See Us on Netflix. This is a horror film to me. I can't stomach it. I literally did not watch this case until I could not avoid it anymore because y'all are going to have to explain to me why a 14-year-old gets shot in the back and then the perpetrator is found not guilty. And I'll tell you why. Because black children are not seen as black children. That defense team went so hard on the fact that Cyrus had a gun. They don't know what environment Cyrus is growing up in. Y'all push us to the hood and in the ghetto. And then when we carry gun for protection, you say, why does a child have a gun? Doesn't matter that he had a gun. Y'all didn't know he had a gun. The Childs didn't know he had a gun until it fell out of his pocket. And that's not why you shot him, because Rick Chow has a history of shooting people in his store, shooting at people in his store, and he's gotten away with it. He's gotten away with it. Of course, the judge did not allow that little bit of testimony that this man has a tendency to shoot over $5 convenience store items. But they placed so much emphasis on the fact that Cyrus had a gun and not the fact that Cyrus was a child. Cyrus was a child. If anybody had a self defense claim, it would have been Cyrus. If he was so big and bad with his gun, he should have turned around and shot y'all asses. Y'all are two grown men chasing me. I don't know what y'all want. I know I didn't take no water. If he was the gangster child y'all tried to make him out to be, wouldn't he have pulled the gun out in the store and say, I didn't take no fucking water? Stop talking to me. This was a horror show for me. It is a traumatic event for Black people, and I'm going to tell you why. It is not just that a child was shot, because as horrible as it sounds, yes, Chaotic hits at Black people in his store. He's known to shoot at Black people in his store, even though he's smack dab in the middle of a Black neighborhood. If you hate us so much, pick your shit up and move it to the white neighborhoods. Oh, they won't let you. Oh, they won't let you. That's a whole nother story for a whole different day. But the trauma of this case does not come only from the fact that a child is shot and dead for the thought of stealing a one bottle of water, because I want to be clear, he did not steal the water. There are racists and bigots in the comments of this trial day talking about, well, you shouldn't steal. As if you are just dense enough to not know that he did not steal anything. But the trauma of it all is not just that a child was shot over the thought of the incorrect thought that he stole a $1 bottle of water. The trauma and why I couldn't watch it is because we know as Black people that he might walk away from this. That is traumatizing. And I don't think white people ever have that fear. I don't think white people ever have that fear. I think white people know that if a white child is shot, whoever shot him is going to jail. Going to jail with immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. We are never sure. We are never sure, even when the shit is on video. There is no room for interpretation. We still are at home clutching our pearls, waiting for a verdict. That is the Black experience. And so this is traumatic for me in a way I could not explain fully. This child was shot in the back. And they said not guilty. And I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, it was overcharged. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Rick Child should absolutely been charged with first degree premeditated murder. This is what he does. This is what he does. He was going to shoot that boy come hella high water. Because the son is on the stand and the defense is asking, what were you even chasing? The prosecution, what are you chasing him for? What were you going to do? I just want to see where it goes. See where he goes for what? If you actually thought he stole a water, you thought you were going to call the police department and say, I got a little boy in here who stole a bottle of water and I need you to go to his house and arrest him. And they're going to be like, well, how much? Well, how many bottles of water? One? Sir, get off my line. Sir, get off my line. What were you following him for? Exactly, chaotic, because it was undercharged, in my opinion. And the fact that we have to play with the charges so we can convince people he deserves it when he shot a child in the back. If he's pointing a gun at you, how does the bullet get in the back? The fact that we have to be like, oh, okay, can't be too much. You know, they ain't not gonna give him too much. Exactly, numbers. It's not one or it's not this or that. He shot a child in the back. He should be in prison for first degree premeditated murder for the rest of his natural life. But that child was Black. And Black children do not get to be children. They not they don't get to be viewed as children. Cyrus was 14 years old. 14 years old. Was that first year of high school? Maybe not even. And he did not take anything. And you knew he didn't take anything when you chased him. And then you chased him for that dollar bottle of water, leaving your store empty for anybody to steal anything else. Make that make sense. We're gonna get to Michael Proctor. Don't you even fucking worry. So then after I get over the trauma of Rick Child killing that child and him walking away not guilty, as soon as I slightly move past that, what pops up on my feed? A Texas v. Carmelo Anthony. Another child. Another child. And Carmelo is charged with the murder of Austin Metcalf. If you don't know what happened in this case, it is said that Austin and Carmelo were at some big city track meet for a bunch of different schools. And Carmelo went to sit under a tent because there was a rainstorm. And Austin and his twin brother didn't like that. Guess which one of those people are Black? I'm going to go with Carmelo for 300, Alex. Carmelo goes to sit under the tent because it is pouring down rain, and Austin and his twin brother did not like that. Get from under our tent. There's some words exchanged. Carmelo says something to the fact of, as long as you don't put your hands on me, as long as you don't put your hands on me, we good. But our bodies are not our bodies. And there are some white people in this world who think they have access to our bodies and they have access to police us, whether or not they are a policeman. And so that wasn't good enough for Austin Metcalf and his brother. So they go to move Carmelo out of the tent. And Carmelo defends himself and stabs Austin, and Austin dies. Yes, he knew somebody under the tent, which is why he went to sit under the tent. Even though that person got on the stand and tried to distance himself from Carmelo, but his defense had pictures of them together all the time. Carmelo was on the trial for his life because, again, Black children aren't allowed to be children, and everybody is allowed to defend themselves with deadly force in this country except Black people. And if you think Carmelo went under that tent and looked around and said, I'm going to choose the biggest, burliest white boy to stab, get off my line. Get off my line. I think Austin was a racist because his parents are probably racist. And he didn't like that Black boy under his tent. And he went to move him and he got more than he was looking for. And now all the white people are rallying around to act like Carmelo was the aggressor. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense because why would he choose Austin if he was the aggressor? That doesn't even make sense. And it's another horror movie for us. It's another traumatic event because we all know that Carmelo doesn't go under that tent and stab somebody. And I'm not saying Austin deserves to die. Please understand me. No, he's a child as well. Austin is a child, was a child, and Carmelo was a child. So I'm not saying Austin deserves to die. But if you think Carmelo, who seemed to be a great student, straight A student, working 2 jobs, playing 2 sports in high school, walked under that tent and chose Austin to be aggressive towards, you are being dense and you're being dense purposely. Because I will put money, big money, all the money on the fact that if it was the other way around, Austin would not have even been charged with a crime. When people try to get on these posts and people try to get under stuff and say it's not about race, y'all try to make everything about race because everything is about race. To Black people, everything is about race because we know that what you see first is a Black person. See, white people are able to walk around in the world and not think about their race. So everything is not about race to them. That is part of the white privilege we talk about. When we say white privilege, y'all immediately go to money and access. But when we talk about white privilege, we talk about the privilege to not think about your race. When I walk into a room, I immediately spot how many Black people are there because they're that scarce. And that's at work, that's at school, that's anywhere of importance. I can count on my hand. I immediately clock them. If you think Carmelo would walk under a tent for a white high school he doesn't know, just willy nilly, it's because you're white and you don't understand the Black experience. There is no way a little Black boy in Texas, mind you, is going to sit under a tent of a full white school full of people he doesn't know. Why are Black people so silent about Gaza? With all due respect, I don't think Black people are silent about Gaza, but if they are, so what? Why are Arabic people so silent on all the issues that plague Black people? Get off my page before I block you. Today is not the time to piss me off. Anywho, these people, these children, they're not children anymore. I think they're about 19. They're getting on the stand one after the other and trying to make it seem like Carmelo was the aggressor in this situation. That doesn't even make sense. And it is traumatic for us It is traumatic for us because we all know that he could go to jail for the rest of his life. When I 100% believe Austin and his big ass brother, both of those are big boys, football playing boys, tried to beat him up and he protected himself. But Black people aren't allowed to protect themselves any kind of way, not just deadly force. White people can protect everything they own with a bullet. And as long as they were protecting something against a Black person, mind you, they were protecting anything. Rick Child was protecting his $1 bottle of water and he was able to shoot a 14-year-old in the back. And if it had been Austin who was under Carmelo's tent and Carmelo was the one pushing him around, telling him to get out the tent, and then Austin had stabbed Carmelo, Austin would not even be charged with this crime. And if you don't believe that, you're not living in Trump's America. If you do not believe that, you're not living in America with the rest of us. If Carmelo was another white boy in that school, he would have went home to his parents that night where everybody thought about what we gonna do. What we gonna do? Because we don't want to ruin his life. He has so much life ahead of him. But because Black people are not seen as children, because Black people are not able to defend themselves, and because Carmelo made the ultimate sin, killing a white male, we have no idea whether or not this boy is going to ever walk outside of a prison cell. The racial implications of this trial are thick. And the only people I see saying it's not about race happen to be white. I don't know what that means. I'm not a sociologist, but I'll always wonder why it is when it is absolutely about race. White people are the only people who try to make it not about race. There's a reason there is a term called microaggression because Black people are so aware of our race, we can see it on a micro level. We can see it on a micro level. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be numbers. And in a perfect world, it wouldn't be. But this country was built on racism. It is so intertwined in the fabric and in the soil of our nation that I don't think we'll ever come up from under it. Because as long as there are people, grown-ups, teaching their children what their grandparents taught them, it will always be about race. Let's talk about Mick Proctor. Hmm. After telling good about a multi-car accident can actually take your time. I saw a nigger was involved, so I wouldn't rush if you're working. Let them die. Let's see. Went to Kent High School this morning to get a transcript and saw more niggers in 10 minutes than in 4 years I spent there combined. Everywhere I looked, there was monkeys running around. Wanted to ask the woman in the guidance office, where were all the white kids? Where the fuck did all these nigglets come from? That lady was an absolute cunt rag nigga who had it in for me for some reason. Stupid ugly gook. Unfortunately, I know Randolph all too well. Place is a complete shithole filled with niggers. No good niggers. She's a Jew. So she def puts out, deport their asses. I don't care if they're here legally or what their excuse was. Fucking deport those sand niggers. It should be Punch a Nigger Day in Cannes today out of retribution. Any shine you see, blast it in the face. America sucks. Hitler was really onto something. Then the fucking US had to step in and ruin it. You know, none of that surprises me. I know there were probably some people, I'm sure non black, who were clutching their pearls when they found out Michael Proctor was a racist, anti Semitic, misogynistic, bulbous forehead bitch. But I was not surprised. I could tell this again, what I was about to say earlier. There's a reason the term microaggression is a thing because black people notice that shit on a micro level. I could see it like a twinkle in your eye. I could tell by the way he was talking about Karen Reed that nigga word was gonna come in somewhere. I could tell by the way Buchanan would not disavow him in the second trial that this is a racist environment. We can see it. So when we say that there is a racial thing happening and people try to gaslight us and say it's not about race, pisses us off. I was not surprised. When we say cops are racist, everybody looks at us like, not all cops. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because if you think that was just him and good, you got another fucking thing coming. If you think you can hide that level of racism, that level of misogyny, that level of anti Semitism on a day to day basis, you are insane. You are insane. I could tell when he was calling her a whack job cunt. I could tell by the way he sits, and I can tell by that big ass bald head. Because we know it. We can see it. We've been taught it from a very early age. I was just waiting for it to drop. And could you shout out to Rose Capriccio? I forget how to say her last name. The lawyer for Miles King. Because you know she knew this, right? You know she knew this the whole time she's fighting for these records in the Miles King case. She know this motherfucker uses the word nigga like he's asking for ice cream. If you think I don't even say nigga. Not in regular conversation. I don't even say nigga. So it does not come out. It doesn't pop out of my mouth when I'm talking to people. When you say it that much, I guarantee you he said it to his superiors, to whoever's around that police department. I guarantee you it's popped out because it's not subtle. It's not sometimes. And I'm not going to say the N word. I'm not going to say the N word because I need y'all to hear it and I need y'all to know what it is. I feel like the N word, when you say the N word, it takes too much stank off of it. No. Let's see. Let's see what else he had to say. Anne Frank is a lying cunt. No, why the fuck Anne Frank get in it? First of all, somebody go around here and see whether or not Proctor and Good got some type of sexual relationship going on. Because it seems like they don't like nobody but white men. Let's clock that T. They don't like women. They don't like black people. They don't like Jewish people. They don't like Arab people. And they talk about rape casually of their significant others in these text messages. So somebody go around there and see who hunching who. And he says, I don't know how I passed the background check. We don't either, Proctor. We don't either. We don't either. Actually, we do. Actually, we do. Because you're a white man from a white family. That's enough. That's enough. That's it. That's all you got to do. Now we give you a gun and a badge and tell you to police this community filled with all the people you hate. He said there was an accident, but I saw a nigger. So take your time. Let them die. If you think that type of person would implant evidence to save another fellow white man cop, i.e., Brian Albert, you're delusional. Hi, quizzical girl. You're delusional. I'm not delusional. You bitches are delusional. I was not surprised, not in the slightest. I was waiting on it, rubbing my feet together, waiting on it. I said way back when Turtle Boy was saying, I don't think he would say anything like that. I said way back when, oh, here's gonna be some text messages when he calling somebody a nigga. I said way back when, because we can see it, we can smell it. We can smell it. The smallest interaction with a person, black people immediately know, oh, she did that because I was black. And when we say that to a non black person, because the racism is so underhanded these days and so gaslighty, when we say that to another black person, they be like, no, she was just doing her job, or no, I don't think that was it. Maybe she was just having a bad day, or blah, 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 blah. We can see it, we can feel it, we can smell it. And when he don't even have to be talking about black people, you see, the way he was talking about Karen Reed, let me know. Oh, yeah, she ain't the only person he hates. She ain't the only person he hates. And it is a culture. And I'm glad that she sued them. And I know they rule the fucking day they charged that lady with the death of John O'Keefe. I know they like this shit was supposed to go away fast. It was supposed to go away quick. We were supposed to lock her up and throw away the key, and now everything is crumbling down. And somebody need to get on around there and put an eye on that bulbous forehead motherfucker, because it would not surprise me if he decided to jump off the Empire State Building right about now. Him and his whole family. Because just think about that. Just think about that. When he was fired, we had so many of his family and friends. He's a stand up guy. He's a stand up gentleman. He would never do anything like that. Huh? Huh? You defend this. Just let me step outside of my black woman esque, which is very hard for me to do. Very hard for me to do. And let's just say I was a defense attorney defending Michael Proctor. I don't got nothing for you. I don't have nothing for you, sir. Just shut up. That's the best defense I can give you. All I can tell you at this point is don't say nothing else. He literally said on ABC that he wouldn't change anything about his investigation. I know you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. That makes sense that you wouldn't. That makes sense that you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. And then Good tried to quit, or did he get fired? I don't remember before the text messages came out. But if you think they're the only two, if you think Buchanan isn't in on this, because that's a racist for sure, if I've ever seen one. That's a racist for sure, if I've ever seen one. I was not surprised by the Micah Proctor text. I was already aware of the fact that Michael Proctor was a racist, a misogynist. So little surprised he was anti-Semitic, I will say. Because why Anne Frank get pulled into this? Everybody. Everybody. I heard that he applied to Boston PD and did not pass their background check. But then you go to the state police. Well, we know why. The state police is full of idiots who uses snow blowers and red solo cups. So, it doesn't seem like a hard test to pass over there at MSP. So it is what it is. But fuck Boston PD too. Fuck them too. Because one of yours was found dead on the lawn and I didn't see you out nowhere. So fuck y'all too. That whole side over there has the same vibe. Jen, Brian, especially Caleb. Is that his name? Colin? Especially that motherfucker with the fucked up knuckles. He's definitely let a nigga slip out them lips. Absolutely. He's definitely the type. Which is what Michael Proctor's defense is going to be. I mean, Michael Proctor is an idiot. I mean, we're sure. We know. Nobody's confused. But the only way he comes out of this a little bit, now he's not going to come out of it. That's a wrong choice of words. The only way people take their eyes off of him if he start talking about everybody else. So get on your Zoom, Michael Proctor. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. Get on your Zoom and get the point and them hoes out. It has been a very tough week to be Black in this legal space because everything is pissing me off. They are not streaming the Carmelo Anthony trial, which I think is a choice. I mean, of course it's a choice. They want to say because these were all kids, but they're not kids anymore. They're adults now. They don't want us to know what really goes on because the media is spewing this testimony. They are skewing the testimony to make it seem like everybody is saying Carmelo is the aggressor, which they are. But then when the defense gets up, they start to really admit what's going on. I think the Canton Police Department, the Massachusetts State Police Department, and a little bit of Boston Police Department are filled with racists. But we know that. See, here's the thing y'all might not know about Black people. We are very aware of where the sundown towns are. We're very aware. Y'all don't know that we know. But we know. I guarantee you, if you walk to any Black person you know in whatever state or region you come from, they have a list of cities in that state that they don't go to after sundown. And I don't give a damn if they are 10-degree professionals. Because why? Because when you see me, you don't know that I'm a 10-degree professional. You don't know that I'm a millionaire. You know that I'm a billionaire. When you see me first, you know that I'm Black. That is your homework for today. If you know a Black person, if you are one yourself, if you are one yourself, go ahead and drop in the chat. Are there specific parts of your town that you don't go to after the sun goes down? And if you're not a Black person, make sure you ask a Black person today. Hey, is there parts of the city, parts of the state you don't go to at nighttime? I guarantee you the answer is yes. And it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in California, one of the most progressive states in the nation. I guarantee you there are. And that is the privilege of white people, that you don't ever have to think about that. You don't ever have to think about that. You might not want to go to the hood, but not because the police are going to harass you, not because the police are going to harass you. It's just because you've never been over there. And white people really don't like to surround themselves with in all black environments, even though black people have to do it daily. Another part of your white privilege. You get to pick and choose when you're the minority in a group. If you're a black person and you want to go to college, prepare to be the minority. Unless you go to an HBCU, but of course. If you're a black person in corporate America, prepare to be the minority. And if you think most cops are not like Michael Proctor, you under a rock. Just because your baby sister cousin husband Tracy is a good cop, don't let that make you think that 95, I'll give 80. 80% of cops are Michael Proctors in the minds of black people. And what do I mean? Do I think that means that all white cops say nigger? No, I don't think that. What I think is that all white cops know a white cop that says nigger and they don't do anything about it. They still patrol with them. They still take their back. They still back them up. They still sign their reports. And they still get on the sand and say they're upstanding gentlemen of the force. Nobody black is confused. Nobody black is surprised by Michael Proctor's text. I have watched a couple of the white attorneys on YouTube talk about the Michael Proctor sex, and they all say the same things. I've never seen anything like this. Most cops are good cops because that's what they got to say. That's what they got to say. I don't think that. I think it's actually reverse. I think most cops are bad cops, and there are a few sprinkling of good ones in there. And even those might get a bombastic side eye because, again, you cannot be a good cop if you sit next to a bad cop. That is just my opinion. That is just my opinion. You're not a good cop if you know that a bad cop is on the force with you and you don't say anything about it. If you continue to let a bad cop hold a gun and a badge and police the community, you cannot call yourself a good cop. Once I see cops pointing out bad cops, then I will say, of course, not all cops are bad. But if there are people like Michael Proctor on the force, Canton, Massachusetts might be a sundown town. But he's on the state police, which is why I said I don't want to fly over Massachusetts. Keep my black ass right at home, right in Detroit, where he said he wants to blow up. Now catch a stray. What did we do? Detroit is actually a thriving metropolis. Our downtown is beautiful, and our city council is almost all black. I had a black plumber come to my house, and he told me he was afraid to come to my town until he had to for his job. He said he is treated better here than in his own neighborhood. That is a one-off, and I'm so glad that he was treated good in your town numbers. But you see, he was scared to come there before that. He's not making that up. He didn't make that up. There's a reason he was scared to come there before that. He didn't make that up. I watched Philando Castile get murdered on live stream. It radicalized me to believe there are no good ones. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he was raised being told that. Why? Because we have to protect our black children. He was raised being told that because we have to protect our black children. We have to let them know early where they can and cannot go, what they can and cannot say, what they can and cannot do, and whom they can and cannot be around. That is the black experience in America. I'm sure he was raised being told that. And I'm sure he was treated amazingly in your town. But I guarantee you, if five of them came over there at one time, keep my comments to myself. But I love you, numbers. Of course, he was raised being told that. We have to do that. That is the black. This is now kitchen table talk. This is conversations that white people are generally not involved in. You generally don't know about. But of course, we teach our children. I'm in Michigan, so don't you get if you in Livonia, you better be home before the sun go down. If you in Howell, you better get your ass back across the city lines. If you in Allen Park, don't be over there after nighttime. Get in the house. Yes, we have to teach our children that. We have to teach our children that. So yes, he was raised knowing that. But he didn't they didn't just make it up. Nobody just picks a random city. Nobody just picks a random city and decides that's the racist one. And every time they did a study on what black people call the racist city, and they go into the police department and do a study on who's pulled over, even though the town is 90% white, the pullovers are 95% black. We don't just make this up. And we can't risk being pulled over by the police. Because every interaction we have with the police, we know could be our last interaction with any fucking body. Because we are always seen as aggressive. As soon as they walk up to the car, why is your hand on your gun? I didn't do anything. We've all seen videos where as soon as a black person whip turns around too fast, everybody got their guns out. Meanwhile, a white man could drag y'all down to hell and y'all just barely want to tase him. We don't make this up. This is not just, you've seen it in movies, but it's not just for dramatic effect. This shit happens all day because of police officers like Michael Proctor. And then when we get in court, then when we get to court and say that that cop is racist, everybody looks at us like we crazy and the gaslighting is extreme. He's just doing his job. He's not racist. I know what you're talking about. The gaslighting is extreme. I guarantee you, people who have dealt with Michael Proctor have said that man is racist. He did this because I'm black. He did this because I'm a woman. He did this because I'm Jewish. He did this because I'm Arabic. And they gaslit them people and made it seem like, oh no, you're just being sensitive. Meanwhile, this motherfucker is on text message saying there is an accident, but I saw a nigga, so don't rush over there. The gaslighting of it all. If you think that person wouldn't take a little hammer to the back of a tail light, you're more hopeful than I'll ever be. If you think that person won't sprinkle a little plastic particles in the street, you're more hopeful than I'll ever be. You're more hopeful than I'll ever be. Do you think it was a strategy for the state to call so many POC for their witnesses? Which trial are you talking about? I think you're talking about Rick Chow. Um, no, hi Jen. I don't think it was a strategy. I think those are the ones who seen it because it was in a black neighborhood. Because that's where Asians put their stores. Because that is where they allow you to put your stores. When you hate us so much, the Asian community, this is another kitchen table talk that I don't know if white people understand, but the Asian community and the black community have always been like this. We've always been at odds with each other. And it's not us at odds with them, it's them at odds with us. Because they come to our towns, build their stores, their beauty supplies, take our dollar, but hate our bodies. So I think they only had people of color witnesses because that's a black neighborhood. And that's who saw them chasing him. And that's who he shoots at. I don't think they are. Also, who do you think is going on? What do you think is going on with the twin brother Hunter not being called to testify? Because they're gonna rip him to shreds. Because they know he's going to get up there and lie. Because he's going to have to get up there and lie in order to justify why they think Carmelo is the aggressor. He's going to have to lie, and you cannot willingly put a liar on the stand. He's going to have to admit that, yeah, me and my brother was pushing him around. Me and my brother told him to get out. Me and my brother walked down the bleachers and was about to throw him out. Can't knowingly put a liar on the stand, and he ain't gonna have no choice but to lie. They're going to make it seem like, oh, it's traumatic. We don't really need him because, we have all these other people. But I think it's because we can't knowingly put a liar on the stand. Because if he tells the truth, this case is over. If he say, yeah, me and my brother didn't like him sitting there, so we went down there, they can. They can call him numbers, but I wouldn't, because you understand that when it's a black person against a white person, and technically I know he's not against the white person, he's against the state, but he has no black people on his jury. None, not one, which is also a fucking issue. They struck every black person and then tried to tell us it wasn't based on race. The gaslighting is extreme. When we say shit is about race and they say it's not, the gaslighting is extreme. The prosecution struck every single black person for cause off of his jury. That is racist. But if they have any other reason, it's okay. So the defense can call him, but it's a very tight roped dance because he's a black man. That's what they see. I know it's a child. And the reason they won't stream the trial is because they're all children, even though they're all 18, 19 at this point. Some of them might still be in high school, maybe, but they're pretty close to out of it. They don't see him as a child, they see him as a man. And if the defense gets up there and it's too hard on the twin brother of the person that has been murdered, it could be very detrimental to their case. So it's a tight rope, and I don't think they need him. And I don't think they need him. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're going to tell people is we're not calling him because it's dramatic. He lost his twin, and da 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 da. But what it really is in my head and what I believe is that I can't put you on the stand if I know you're going to lie. There's only so much I don't remember you can do before you're just flat out the fuck lying. Any hootie, I'm still very angry about everything that is happening right now. Um, Michael Proctor feels like slight vindication, but not really. Not really, because the people that worked with Michael Proctor are still very much a part of the MSP. You'd have to gut that fish from the inside out. You'd have to get in there and scoop out all its guts before you get rid of the racism that is prevalent in that department. Michael Proctor was not shy about his feelings and his thoughts. There just didn't happen to be any black people on the Karen Reed case, but I guarantee you, if there was, oh baby, there happened to not be any Jewish people involved in the Karen Reed case, but if there was, oh baby, you know what there was? A woman. And what did he call her? A whack job cunt. But you'd have to get in there and gut that fish from the inside out, pull out all its guts. Otherwise, You remove Michael Proctor, you remove good. There's five more in its place, like that monster from Hercules when Hercules kept trying to cut off the head and three more would grow. And I have yet to see any Massachusetts state police officer, any Canton police officer, any Boston police officer come out and say, Michael Proctor is a shithead and I rue the day I ever had to work with him. And that's why I say there are no good cops. That's why I say there are no good cops. Because a good cop would come out and say, that motherfucker should be hung from a tree. That sort of racism, that sort of misogyny, that sort of anti-Semitism should be nowhere in the police force. And I hate his guts. And I hate his guts because now we're all looked at as racist. But I haven't seen that from anybody, anywhere. And that's why I say there are no good cops. They can't say that because if you go digging up into their shit, what you gonna find? You can't come out and call him a racist because if we go digging through your shit, what we gonna find? You can't come out and call him anti-Semitic because if we go digging through your shit, what are we gonna find? No, y'all just gotta zip y'all lips, and that's why I say there are no good cops. And if you're a black cop or Massachusetts State Police, I I don't even know. I don't even know why you're there, but there's some people that do some cooning every once in a while. What can we do? There's good and bad in all of us. And Good was the one who made Deaver come into the office the morning of the call. Mm-hmm. Because he knew. First of all, he knew. I need somebody who gonna do what we say when we say it. I got somebody for the job, and now look at her somewhere in a crazy house. Somewhere in a crazy house because you thought they had your back when they don't even like women. You didn't know that. You thought they just didn't like niggas and Jews and Arabics. Turns out they don't like women either. And you was cool. You were okay with them not liking niggas and Jews and Arabics. Turns out they didn't like you either. Now where you at? Somewhere looking dumb. Really dumb. Any hootie. I'm gonna get back to Zen. Get this shit off my mind for now. Because the Carmelo Anthony trial is still happening, and you got to get bits and pieces where you can get bits and pieces because there are no cameras allowed in the courtroom, um, and the media outlets are not doing it. So I have to go on Reddit, I have to go on Twitter. I'm not saying X. Get suck a nut, and try to figure out where you can get it. Yes, that's one thing white women don't understand is they hate us just as much, just as much. They don't discriminate. They don't discriminate in their discrimination. They don't discriminate in their discrimination. Michael Proctor wants us all to be slaves again. And what were white women doing while we were slaves? Y'all were slaves of a different kind. Clock that T. Clock that T. Any hootie, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go to work. Um, what was I about to say? I still have um the members only video coming about what's going on with my grandmother. That has been a mess. I'm basically having to learn a med mal law all by myself in rapid fire speed. Um, But that is coming together. I finally got the medical records and they blew my mind. And I just every time I find something new, it breaks me down all over again. And then I try to record and then I can't get through it. But I'm going to get through it. And that is coming. And I appreciate y'all being here with me today. And if anybody was offended today, you need to sit with that offense and figure out why you're offended, and your healing will be on the other side of that answer. On with that note, if a hit dog will holler. So if you felt offended by anything that came out of my mouth, I want you to sit with that. I want you to think about why you're offended. I want you to think about what I said and what part of it offended you. And if you can't figure out why something about it I didn't like, I need you to go do some deep research on yourself or go talk to somebody. And your healing about why you're offended, your healing is on the other side of that answer. Y'all make sure y'all take care of yourselves and each other. I will holler at you later. Bye. Bye, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.